Did you know that there is no minimum age for birth control? Many girls think that they have to be over the age of 18 or have parents' consent to get birth control. Even though there are some schools that say that you shouldn't have sex or you shouldn't get birth control, it's actually legal for girls any age to have birth control. What many people don't know, even me as a 20-year-old college student, didn't know that you can obtain birth control without having to be 18. I've had many friends who've actually started birth control to help their skin get better, and this has actually helped them. Many girls should also be taught in school that should be allowed to have birth control. Not only is abstinence the way to make sure that they have a safe and natural cycle, that they also can use birth control to help this. Taking birth control does not have to be known by your parents. It can be confidential. There are no state and laws that require girls to have insurance, and many people don't know that Planned Parenthood is also a very good option for getting birth control. Planned Parenthood has always had the rules that they are confidential and will help girls in need. Even though there are things that people don't agree with Planned Parenthood, this is one thing that I agree with. Girls should not be forced to make these decisions, and they should not have to feel ashamed by getting birth control. Many girls are not taught that birth control should help them. They are not taught that it can help with their skin, and it is not taught that they can be allowed to control their period. Many girls feel ashamed that they have to ask permission of their parents, and they don't. Most people don't know that when you walk into Planned Parenthood, you can ask them to do this confidentially. They only charge you a minimum fee of $45, and they also can take insurance because insurance companies do not require information about what doctor visits are. Most insurances, if not all, are allowed to do confidential paperwork, which protects the young girls from having to have conversations with their parents. Many people don't know that Planned Parenthood also went on many court cases arguing that teenage girls should not be forced to have conversations with their parents about this. Many people don't know is that they won those laws and they won those rights. Many people also don't know that they have fought tooth and nail to give girls the privacy and privilege that they deserve. With the world that is going on right now, many girls think that they are required and forced to keep everything open and they are required to tell their parents. They're not. Planned Parenthood and many other mental health facilities and doctors' offices do allow consensual and confidential paperwork that allow teenage girls under the age of 18 that have started their period and cause a lot of pain to get it confidential without parents' consent. Many people also don't know that schools should be teaching this to our children, not only to young girls but also to young men, because not only does it take one person to have sex, it takes two. So, by teaching both sex that women should have the right and should have the privilege to have this confidential should be very beneficial for both sides of the party. Many girls think they should have to be ashamed and feel burdened by having birth control, but it's very normal. Almost all the girls that I know are on birth control. Personally, I am not one of those because I am personally just waiting to see, because I am not the biggest fan on birth control, but that doesn't stop you. Many people do believe that birth control allows them to feel comfort in their skin and allows them to feel themselves. Many girls also don't need that. They also can be free and not have to worry about when their period will strike, because birth control will help you regulate and help you feel more confident in what you're doing in your daily life. Parents should also not be forced to have these conversations with their children. Even though most people agree that sex ed is not and should not be taught by schools, I believe that there should be some conversations that should be held by schools about when and where and what happens. Because many people, like me included, were not taught sex ed. I know a lot of girls that I've played with and many people that I've grown up with that were never taught sex ed. And I know this is a very harsh conversation. It should be taught by parents, but it's not. And in sex ed classes, you are taught about birth control and consensual sex and having the correct items when having when having sexual intercourse, and this can also help with pregnancy and safe sex. And also by teaching consent and that girls should be allowed to have birth control, this can also be taught by many people they feel comfortable with, whether that be family members, counselors, or even friends. But most people are too afraid to talk about this subject because it is a very harsh one and it is not more comfortable for people to talk about. Many people also think that birth control is a form of blocking hormones and that you should not be able to do that. Most girls have too heavy periods and it causes them to lose too much blood. But with birth control, it allows them to have a shorter cycle and it helps them not lose as much blood. By having these necessary things available for girls, it will teach them that birth control is available for all girls and that you do not have to have parents' consent, and that your insurance will cover it if you would rather pay that way, or you can even pay in cash when you go to one of these facilities. That there also should not have to require parents' consent when purchasing birth control. Many girls feel that it is shameful when they buy birth control and they should be allowed to do it without such harsh thoughts. And it can be by also having not to talk to parents, they feel more comfortable with their doctors and practicing physicians. That will lead to a better medical facility, but also for women to feel more comfortable when going to the doctor. And by doing this, it will allow more of a safe space for women, because there are not many safe spaces anymore for girls and for many athletes or even males in this world right now. So by having these things available, it will allow more of a safe and secure facility for women.